This is China Warrior on the TurboGrafx-16 Mini. We're playing the Japanese version of China Warrior, known as The Kung Fu. Both equally generic titles for this infamously generic game. A launch title for the TurboGrafx-16 and the PC Engine back in 1987. Now, to understand, I guess to kind of put this in some perspective, in 1987, if you were to ask yourself what NES Famicom games have the largest sprites, keep in mind this is 1987, so this is before Styanax, this is before Swordmaster, this is way before, you know, Batman Return of the Joker, or Dynamite Batman, as I believe it was called in Japan. This is... yeah, if you think of an NES game that had the largest sprites, what would you think of? Because it wouldn't be Blaster Master, I don't think. Maybe Bases Loaded, but that was a sports game. So the idea of playing a game with a character this large was kind of absurd in 1987. I mean, it was probably possible, but it took a bit of effort. Okay, let's establish. This is an auto-scrolling game. If I crouch, I stop moving. You press button 1 to punch, and you press button 2 to kick. Ow! You can kick, you can punch while you're standing, you can kick while you're standing. You cannot kick while you're crouching. Also, you can press up to jump. You cannot punch while you're jumping. You can only kick while you're jumping. So just so we're clear, you can only punch while you're crouching. You can only kick while you're jumping. Which is needlessly complicated to me because you're immediately thinking, okay, you're in the air, you press the wrong button. You're on the ground, you press the wrong button, so you're in trouble. And of course, this 2-frame animation isn't doing wonders for me either. Now, ideally, I'd be crouching against all these guys because eventually these guys start. I think you'll be able to... no worries. So really, that's really all there is to this game. Eventually, we're going to see a boss fight, which is just a duel. But that's all there is, kids. This was the mind-blowing 16-bit GPU experience you could expect back in 1987. Now, obviously, you know, the PC Engine does what Nintendo don't back then, but part of me says that, yeah, this game came out before Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu as well, so... what was the... okay. What was the... what... how do I grab that? I don't know how to grab that. Anyway. Was this based on an arcade game or something? I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, it's simplistic enough to be an arcade game. But compared to something like Irem's Kung Fu on the NES, this is even worse than that. Okay, here we go. Want a piece of this? Come on. Come on. I'll give you a Hadouken. It seemed to have reached an impasse. Let me hit the turbo button. But turbo level 1 doesn't work. The turbo level 1 doesn't work. What about turbo level 2? Max turbo. Yes, it's max turbo. So this is the scintillating 16-bit experience you were expecting back in 1987, I suppose. I mean, look at the size of these sprites, dude. They're like half the size of the screen. Remember, this is 1987. This is a big deal, literally. It's like Mortal Kombat. Okay. Previously on Kung Fu Warrior, the China Warrior, or the Kung Fu, we were doing this. Let's try punching instead. Punching doesn't work. So I can't do the turbo mode for punching. That's unfortunate. Oh well. That worked better than it should have, actually. Did this game start? Did it start from the beginning? Yeah, it started me from the beginning. That was some garbage. Ow. I can't crouch turn. I can't turn at all, actually. Yeah, let's punch him in the groin. Why not? That's the kind of game this is. I mean, your little cousin can play it. Yeah. People sometimes ask me, what's the first game you... If you have a kid who wants to get into video games for the first time, what's the first game you would recommend? And I'm like, well, not this game, but it's a game a 5-year-old can play. As dumb as it is. Yeah. Come on. They don't even fight back. Just don't let them touch you. Whoop! Sorry. Forgot to jump. I was scratching my nose. Got it! Okay, that's what that was. You have to kick it in midair. And your ankle has to touch it. You can't just touch it with your torso. You have to kick it with the edge of your foot. That's very specific. Because I'm pretty sure I was jumping earlier and I grabbed it with my chest. It didn't count. Ow. Get at me, dog. Okay, we're not gonna do that again. Come on, yo. What you got? What you got, son? You got nothing. It's like Chuck Norris versus Bruce Lee, only worse. Yeah, the dinosaurs crossed Bruce Lee once. Once. What a terrible game this is. And by the way, Riot Zone is not on here. Which is the only, I believe it was the only brawler on this console. Oh. And of course, they didn't put Vigilante on here, but they did put this on here. Vigilante is probably not that good either. It's basically supposed to be like a sequel to Kung Fu, right? Same developers. What was it? Yeah, Irem, the same guys who did the original Kung Fu in the arcades. They did Vigilante, and it has to be better than this. There's no possibility it could be worse. How could it possibly be worse? Well, actually, it could have smaller sprites. Darn it, not supposed to punch those? Some a-hole off the screen just chucking rocks and pebbles and... Yeah, I can't punch them. Chucking rocks and pebbles and sticks. It's like, I'm gonna get you, sucker. Where's he even throwing them from? I gotta power up somehow. Okay, that works. That's right, I can't kick. I can't kick. Yeah, I can't kick. So I have to crouch and punch. Boss? Yep, another one. Right, another dude. Think I'm gonna play half an hour of this? She must be joking. Ow. Come on, yo. Get at me, dog. Didn't I see you in a Street Fighter Alpha? Aren't you Dudley aren't you Dudley? Of course, he wasn't wearing these, he wasn't wearing the army uniform. Wasn't wearing the camo. Yeah, you blend right in, dog. Sergeant Slaughter. Ha! Suck it. And I guess he lost interest. So I took one hit to the face, but I survived by mashing on the kick button. Works for me. I kind of want to hang back, but then the rocks show up. That's not cool. Got it. Okay, so I needed that. Come on. That's not cool. So I'm supposed to jump over him? It's probably supposed to jump over him. Or kick him when he tried to stand up and bite me. Come on. Okay, there we go. Suck it, butterflies. I thought Splatterhouse was bad. This might be worse than Splatterhouse. Got to jump over these guys. Yeah, multiple hits. Yeah! Careful. Ow! I need another book. This is like a mobile game. Whoops, I pressed the kick button instead of the punch button. That was the problem. Again, you can't kick while you're crouching. Does that make any sense? No. I mean, even if you can't, at least just make at least map the buttons so that you can treat it like Vega in Street Fighter 2. If you jump, you press the punch button, just do a kick. Don't complicate things. Like, why can you not crouch and kick? That makes no sense. All the other things. I guess they didn't want to bother to draw the 2 frames of animation required to do a crouching kick. Did they not have enough space on the cartridge? Imagine that. They imagine running out of space and having to put these butterflies in there instead. Yeah, we have characters half the size of the screen and butterflies. Freaking butterflies. All creatures great and small in this game. I could probably program this game like half an hour. Yeah, we need something big. We need a... What, did I punch that? So it takes 3 attacks. Doesn't matter if they're punches or kicks. So all the attacks do the exact same, have the exact same power? You again? I forgot what the headbutts. Let me get the turbo on. There we go. I'm trying to do max turbo. It's technically cheating, though, to be honest. I mean, but how sophisticated do I have to be here? I mean, well, I guess the control in this game is better than Fighting Street, which is also on this console. I want to say that was a launch title for the TurboGrafx-16. Yeah, Fighting Street did come out in this country. Street Fighter 1, in case you're wondering, did come out on this console. It was a 2-button game. Whoops, wrong button. Okay, I pressed it too soon. That's okay. The input lag isn't that bad. You just have to account for it as well. Test your might. Right? It's like our dude here is a little beat up. So I guess that's something I wasn't expecting. Ow! I should have jumped. I was trying to punch it. What an awful game. Wow. I somehow made it past stage 1, though. Come on. I guess the music's okay? Yeah, it's kind of it has an NES vibe to it, actually. I can't punch these things. So I'm going to have to jump over them. This sounds a lot like an NES game, which is actually fine. You know, I'm actually fine with that. I'd say the capabilities of this console are about as good as the NES. Maybe a little bit. It's a little bit better than the NES, I think. I think I can punch those knives. Wow. You have to crouch and punch it. Here we are. Get over here, Michelle Yeoh. Who apparently was going to be a ballerina. Wow, I'm going to have to jump over her. Got those sick kicks. So the waypoints at the beginning of the stage, huh? Big sprites, not necessarily good art. Ow. We good? Can I punch those? No, I can't. So just jump over them. Did I get that? Nope. Can't hit the mass on the top. Ow! Stab me in the eye. Crouch. Got it. Remember, it's a ratchet scroller. You can stop, but you can't go backwards, which is absurd. Kick. Can I block? Yeah, let's get close to her and punch her in the face. Got that crane style, right? Game over. It's a merciful ending to this game. No continues? Ah, nope. Never playing this game again. So let me go back to the menu screen, see what's doing. Imagine paying $60 for this on launch. Like, just imagine. I can't even imagine. Hold select, press start. Nothing special is going to happen, right? I want to say no. What a disaster this game is. Well, I have the bottom. We hit the bottom of the barrel, kids. We found a game that's worse than Splatterhouse. Yeah, no, not gonna do that again. I mean, I don't think there's anything else to see. I mean, you want to see how many points things are worth? I don't. You want to do a perfect run for awful games done quick? A no-hit run? Isn't even possible in this game. Can't be bothered to find out. This is a complete debacle. Nothing really to report here. Launch titles can be either mind-blowing or just really freaking dumb, and this definitely falls to the latter category. Someone decided to spit something out in like a couple of weeks, like a title that really shows the power of the console, because Vigilante wasn't doing it. Vigilante and Keith Courage weren't doing it. They needed something with a bit more jazz, so I guess they settled on this. Shame, really. So we're sorting by release date, no more. We might end up doing that later, but I want to find the games I'm looking for right now. Yeah. TH, so it's in alphabetical order, so the Kung Fu. Right, we're done. Never touching this game again. Want a piece of this? Come on. Come on. Give you a Hadouken. It seemed to have reached an impasse. Let me hit the turbo button. But turbo level 1 doesn't work. The turbo level 1 doesn't work. What about turbo level 2? Max turbo. Yes, it's max turbo. So this is the scintillating 16-bit experience you were expecting back in 1987, I suppose. I mean, look at the size of these sprites, dude. They're like half the size of the screen. Remember, this is 1987. This is a big deal, literally. It's like Mortal Kombat. Although, what was I thinking of? Yeah, on the NES. Yeah, that's a trivia question, y'all. What NES game had the largest playable character sprites? Because I can't think of anything. Like Blaster Master had when you were outside of the tank, the character was kind of big. What game was it? Super Mario Brothers was kind of big. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank, dude. I can't think of anything. I can't think of any sprites bigger than like yeah, I can't think of anything. Maybe Bases Loaded. Yeah, that came out in '88. Yeah, that came out in '88. So maybe the game done changed. I can't think of any game that had anywhere a sprite nearly maybe half as high as this. Hold on, let me I can't pull up Wikipedia yet. Just a second. I don't have my cell phone isn't turned on. Yeah, I'm recording some Shoeman Fu right now. Somewhat appropriate. I got Shoeman Fu recording right now on my computer. Gonna get some H265 H265 compression on that. I'm also working on crushing my I managed to rip some of the Dracula X soundtrack, which I already bought actually. I bought some Dracula X I bought some Dracula X music from iTunes like a decade or so ago. And I might end up buying some Skyrim music from Amazon. We'll see how it goes. Guess we have to crush this. I want to see if I can get Star Parodius. Whoops. Let go of the button. I want to see if I can get Star Parodius in here eventually. Let's see. Remember, this turbo button came on the American consoles. So in Japan, you couldn't do this, or at least not easily. What if you can just leave like a clamp on this button so you can like do the laundry or something? I mean, at least there's no time limit. I'm not complaining. Yeah, I gotta get the Star... Maybe the Star Parodius music is good. I don't know. But I got the soundtrack to... What is it? Ginga Fukai Densetsu Sapphire. So let's see if I can get that up. I might have to increase the volume on that. Let's see. Hey, let me check the manual. Oh, that's right. There's no manual for this game. The manual for this game is in Japanese. Not that I can imagine how to play it. Of course, I do want to know how I pick up that book that flew over my head a while ago. I'll move my manual over here. Guess I can read the manual to Parasol Stars while I'm waiting. Let me see. Did I? Yeah, that's right. My phone's over there. I downloaded all my other manuals on my laptop. Gosh darn it. Well, give me a second. I gotta bring my bag over here. So what's next on the agenda? Probably Book E's 1 and 2 are coming up next. And, let's see. Oh, wait. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna reach. Darn it, I can't reach my bag. I got my microphone hooked up. Just a second. That's okay. So really, the only thing I have to say about that is I can't reach my bag, so I can't turn on the, I can't get my manuals out. I know I'm going to play E's 1 and 2 coming up shortly. Actually, let me read what's on the box. There are a couple of, all the English language names, the English titles for all these Japanese games is here on the back of the box. So all the Japanese games include in a chronological order. The Kung Fu, which is this game, China Warrior. Let's see. Jasiken Necromancer. That's a Japanese RPG, apparently. All text. I won't be able to get anywhere in that game. Galaga 88. Fantasy Zone. I want to say that the arcade version of Fantasy Zone is included on here as well. If you hold down Select and press the Run button while you've selected Fantasy Zone, the arcade port will appear. It's the same deal with Gradius. If you hold down the Select button and press Run, you can play the arcade version of Gradius, which has just as much slowdown as the PC Engine version, to be honest with you. But got better music, so there's that. And the sprites, of course, are arcade. Perfect. Let's see. Dragon Spirit is on here. That's basically a Xevious clone, if you remember that game. Top-down shooter. You press one button to drop bombs on the ground-level enemies, and you press your fire button to attack aerial enemies. Let's see. Appare Gate Ball. It's croquet. It's croquet. It's also in Japanese. I have no idea how to play this game. Nectarus, also known as Military Madness in the United States. Working Designs, I believe. They'd localize that one, so I'll be playing that as soon as I can. It's good to have an actual turn-based strategy game on this console. Dungeon Explorer, which I have in English, but I'm curious if the Japanese version is significantly different. Newtopia, which is a Zelda-like game. I have the American version on this console. PC Genjin, which is Bonk's first adventure. Hopefully I won't be needing a translation for that, because I have Bonk's Revenge already. So hopefully that'll be enough information for me to play the Japanese version. E's 1 and 2, the Japanese version. So if you want to hear the Japanese text, if you want to hear the Japanese voice acting, you can do that. Genji and the Heiki clans. The Genji and the Henki and the Hike? Genji and the Hike clans. Super Darius. There's so many shooters on here. Super Star Soldier I need to play. I thought that came out in the United States, but apparently, I mean, I played Soldier Blade. I don't know if that's the same game. I'll check it out. Damakaimura. Yeah, you know, Ghouls and Ghosts. The Legend of Valkyrie. Don't know anything about that game. I mean, it's Japanese. It's a top-down action game, I believe. Aldine's already played. It's a side-scrolling shooter. Surprisingly decent for what it is, but it's not great. But surprisingly decent. Seirei Senshi Spriggan, which is, I believe, a 2D shooter with some anime in it. I want to say it's a CD-ROM game. Yeah, I think that is a CD-ROM game. It might be a Super CD-ROM game. Utopia 2, which is one of the most expensive games on the console. The American version is not on here? Yeah, it is. The American version is on here. And again, the game's like $100. The game's like $200, $300 just for the Hue card. Forget about the box and the manual. So if you can find that game, good luck, dog. Gradius, of course, I've already played. Salamander, which is Life Force, here in the United States. But this port of Salamander is far more faithful than Life Force was on the NES. It's a lot faster. The power-up system, it doesn't have the power-up wheel that Life Force had on the NES, so keep that in mind. Super Momotaro Densetsu. I have no idea what that is. Super Momotaro Densetsu 2, excuse me. I'll have to look at the attract mode and see if that's a familiar game. Because some of these games I don't recognize the titles, but they might be familiar games. Ninja Ryukenden, that's Ninja Gaiden, the NES. They made a port of it for the PC Engine, which is terrible. I have footage of that already on this channel. Star Parodier, which has a fantastic... I'm going to show you that opening. It's basically like, it's like Macross. It's a Macross opening, feature Bomberman characters. And it includes the anthropomorphic PC Engine you probably saw on the menu screen. The bipedal... The bipedal PC Engine mascots you saw wandering around. You know, the white mascots. Spriggan Mark II, I played a tiny bit of. It's a side-scrolling shooter with some anime cutscenes in it. Or anime dialogue, really. It's like basically, think of it like R-Type. Think of a game like R-Type or Life Force or Gradius, where after every boss fight, the game just pauses and then a anime radio play takes place. Like spoken dialogue after every boss fight, basically. You can also turn those off, I want to say. Snatcher is on here. It's in Japanese only, so if you can't read Japanese, you're SOL. But you can listen to the opening, which has very good music. One Night Neo Kobe, FTW, excuse me. Gradius 2, Gopher no Yabo. It's Gradius 2. Let's see. Which is kind of like Gradius 3. If you play the Super NES version, it has a similar loadout to that game in terms of the weapon options you have, because you can choose what weapon loadout. You have a choice of 4 different loadouts for your weapon when you start the game. So it's kind of like Gradius 3 in that sense. Choaniki, the mighty Choaniki, the infamous mighty Choaniki is on this console. I'm going to need to put an AO rating on that. Of course, I've already played R-Type, and there's a boss in there that's basically inappropriate for anyone who knows what the image is. You know what I'm talking about if you played R-Type. Akumajo, Dracula X, Shino Rondo as Dracula X Rondo of Blood, which I've already played. I'll play more of that later, of course. Definitely will be playing more of that before Halloween. Bomberman 94, Bomberman Panic Bomber. Bomberman was huge in Japan, you have no idea. And I have no idea, apparently, how big it was in Japan. And of course, the game I've already played, one of the last games released on the console, Ginga Fukue Densetsu Sapphire, the top-down shooter with the J-Rock soundtrack that I played for you a while ago. And those are just the Japanese games. Obviously, the American games we'll be playing more of later, like Victory Road and Motor Road, or whatever it's called. Not Motorhead. Moto Rotor, which isn't that good. Victory Run isn't great, but it's interesting. I guess it's kind of like Outrun meets Suzuka 8 Hours, if you remember that game on the Super NES.